Hi, my name is Carol Himelhoch with Himelhoch's Department Store at himelhoch.com. It is my pleasure to be here today with artist and fashion partner Paula Zammit. We are at her studio in Corktown, and I thought that it would be fun for all of you to get to know Paula a little bit, and we can actually have Paula show us some of her work. So welcome, Paula.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Really fun.
I think, as everybody will see, your work is magnificent, but if we can back up a little bit, and if you could share, how did you ever get into doing this to begin with, and when did you discover that you had this artistic talent?
Yeah. It was definitely late in life. Had no idea that I could do this. So I can't say enough to anybody out there that is thinking about trying something. Don't be afraid. Just go for it. Get out of that comfort zone.
So what were you doing before you even decided to?
So I had a business out of my home. I did some catering. I was raising children. At the age of 48, decided I was going to go to art school. Had some wonderful mentors that really pushed me along.
Wow.
Robert Belot was one of them at Schoolcraft College, and it just kind of took somebody believing in me, really. And so I found myself at CCS at the age of 48 and went full time and
followed your passion.
Very much so.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Scary but great. Yep.
Well, I personally think that that's how we should live. We shouldn't start to say, okay, I'm getting a little closer to retirement, it's time to slow down. If we have a passion for something, we've got to live, right?
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. So important. I've shocked myself, and if you don't get out there and try, you just don't know what's buried.
Yeah, I like that. Taking a little risk, trying something. Yeah. So when you were studying at CCS, how did you end up kind of finding your artistic voice, so to speak? How did you figure out what you were connecting with? Or was it while you were in school, or was it on your own time?
Yeah, so it's been a journey. CCS definitely was a huge jumping off point for me. Gilda Snowden was my mentor there. Learned so much from that woman. I can't tell you enough, but I think pretty much everybody you run into will tell you the same thing about Gilda. I also, since I graduated, I've learned a ton. You've got the art community within CCS, which is amazing, but many people that are artists here in Detroit that are not connected with the school, that are extremely talented and very much see the importance of mentoring. And I will just say Matt Eaton at Red Bull House of Art was a huge inspiration for me and encouraging me to start painting in this style that you'll see here in my studio. I've continued with. One of the bodies of work was my figurative paintings.
And so it must have just been exciting to feel this coming out of you and knowing that it was right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very, very difficult some days. It definitely didn't feel like a super easy road at times, but so worth it.
Do you find that when you work, you go in, do you have like a regular schedule, or do you work in fits and starts, or how does your inspiration flow?
Yeah. It depends. If I have deadlines, like a show or a client that I'm doing a commission for, those are always really important to get in there and be disciplined. But I do have a life. I'm a grandmother, and I have 4 grandchildren, one on the way.
Oh, congratulations.
And thank you. And then, 2 grown children, and my family's extremely important to me. And so.
Oh, that's wonderful. So did you grow up in the Detroit area?
I did. Yeah. I moved away for about 6-7 years when my husband had finished grad school. He got hired down in St. Louis.
Sure.
But we came back, and
native Detroiters.
Best thing we ever did. Yeah.
Doing business in the D. I love it.
Yes.
Well, I'm wondering, so we met Paula because we went to an exhibit where your paintings were on display.
Right.
I'm wondering if we could, and we were really, Steve and I were drawn to, we're in the fashion business, and the first thing we saw were some of your fashion themes in your paintings, and we thought it would be so cool to to be able to partner with you. But of course, that's one line of your work. You have other directions too. But maybe we could start by looking at some of your paintings.
Sure.
So if you would want to give us a tour,
Sure.
we'll walk around the studio a little bit.
Okay, so we'll just kind of flip through a few pieces that I have here in the studio, and these were in the show that you were just speaking about at Collected Detroit.
I will say that there's wrapping around it, but
Yes.
I think you still get the cellophane to protect it, but
Right.
you still get to see.
Yeah. So I'm very much drawn to clothing, the women that, and men, the way that women and men dressed and carried themselves back in the 1940s, 50s, 60s. It just feels like a very classy era to me, and
Absolutely is.
yeah, I'm a little disappointed, I think, many times in some of the modern ways that I see, especially females dressing. Concerns me, what the message you're putting out there.
Yes.
So I think this is something that's really gotten lost in our society, and I am just so drawn to it, and I think the type of clothing that people wore back then also really gave a message, as far as your gesturing and your message that you're trying to convey to the people around you, whether it's the opposite sex or even the same sex.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's funny that you say that too, because on our Himelhoch Department Store Facebook page,